Welcome to Breakout Investors. Today we are speaking with the management of Locafy, ticker LCFY, specifically the company's CEO, Gavin Burnett. Joining me on today's call is Breakout investor Florian. This call is being recorded on December 7th, 2022, and will be distributed via the Breakout Investor channel on YouTube and via our podcasting network. Look for Breakout Investor content wherever you subscribe to podcast. We are on Apple, Spotify, Audible, and most other platforms. Supporting materials for today's discussion will be posted on the Breakout Investors Collaboration app, available on the app stores and at app.breakoutinvestors.com. The application and much of the research content is free. Those of you already on the Breakout Investors platform can share your questions for the company using the Discuss tab in Florian's breakout room. So let's get the call started by me handing it over to Gavin for a quick presentation, followed by Florian leading our Q&A.
Thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time today to have a listen to our presentation. We're Locafy, and we're a technology platform that helps business get found faster online. We have the disclosure here, but in the interest of time, I'm sure if you're looking at this presentation later, you can read through the disclosure and the disclaimer. Overview. At Locafy, as small as the company is today, we truly believe that we're revolutionizing the $700 billion search industry, one client at a time, helping businesses get found faster by their customers. Prominence in search results is absolutely essential for business owners that are searching for new customers. It's a fact that most people searching online, if they can't find what they're looking for on page one of search results, they'll put a second search query in rather than go to page two of a Google search. So if you're not on page one, you're really not in the hunt for a new business. And even more so, you really do need to be towards the top of that, because the top three positions in search will generally generate around 61+% of all of the organic traffic. The issue with traditional SEO is that it usually takes many, many months, 9, 10, 11, 12 months, before you realize that you've actually wasted your money, and that the SEO service provider is actually not able to achieve the objectives of getting you towards page one or towards the top of rankings for your desired search terms. Part of the reason for that is SEO is manual. It's very, very hard to scale, can't be centrally managed, and search platforms are continually making changes to their algorithms, which, when they do that, often has pretty devastating results for websites. Because the algorithm is making some changes and the SEO is not able to adapt quickly enough. So what we do at Locafy is we provide very fast working SEO solutions for local, national, and brand focused businesses. There are many technical advantages we have with our platform, and I won't go through all 8 of them. It really comes down to 2 things, and that is speed and structure. If you think about all of the pages that the algorithm has to go through to find the content that it's looking for, it really needs to see some clear, some clear markers in your page structure to really understand what the page is all about. So that's the first thing, and we do that out of the box. We've spent many, many years and millions of dollars researching and understanding how the algorithm is reading the pages and what it's really looking for. Then the next thing is it needs to be fast. And the reason for that is really quite simple. If you think about the search engine's business model, it's about advertising. And advertising dollars can only be counted once a page has been fully loaded for 2 seconds. So clearly, the faster that a page loads for the relevant search terms that it's being paid advertising dollars for, the more favorable treatment that you're going to get, assuming that you've got the right structure and all the other components. So with those 2 key advantages, we regularly seeing our clients get to page 1, and in fact, 99% of our clients have a page 1 ranking. If we look at the business, we drive revenue through 4 different means. We have a subscription revenue base, we have publishing, we have e-commerce, and we have education. I should add that e-commerce and education are also technically subscription revenues as well. They're recurring revenues, but let's just break this down. So on the subscription side, We have a proprietary technology platform, and that platform automates the production of highly optimized landing pages that focus on particular keywords and locations in the case of local search. In the case of national search, we can produce pages that are highly optimized for major terms. And for brand solutions, we have pages that are more suited to companies that are selling products online. On the publishing side, and this is where we see some tremendous potential in 2023. We've been acquiring many directories behind the scenes. We now own 4. One of them is global. And we're in the process of restructuring those directories using our technology, which we believe will actually drive a substantial increase in impressions, and therefore it should increase the advertising revenue that we generate from those pages. I'll get to that in a bit more detail through the presentation. On the e-commerce side, with the recent acquisition of Jimmy Kelly Digital, it's opened up a really fascinating opportunity in the e-commerce space. We have technology that really improves the prominence, increases the prominence of brands inside the marketplaces that customers are selling their products online. And when you combine that with our landing pages, it also increases the prominence in organic search. So customers that are using our brand boost solution are getting a double hit. And we typically see some pretty decent increases in revenue when brand boost is applied. On the education side, Jimmy Kelly is without doubt one of the world's foremost SEO experts. We have a student database now that's growing, people that attend courses to learn SEO techniques and how they can apply those techniques to the products that we have. So through educating the market and explaining how they can use our products in the market is driving product sales. Product range. Let's look at the subscription revenue that we drive through what we call our proximity range of products. Now in local search, proximity and relevance are the key to any type of search. Google definitely rewards companies that have relevant search terms in the immediate proximity of the business location. And the centroid for that is the Google business profile. So first and foremost, it's really important to have a well optimized Google business profile for your business if you're a local service provider. And what we do with our landing page network, which we call Proximity Network, is we provide cast a net really around the local business of pages that are a combination of keywords and locations, so that consumers looking for a particular service in a local area will have a page that reflects that search term. And we're generating some pretty outstanding results for our customers in terms of increasing their prominence with that product. If they're optimized correctly and connected through to the GBP, we can actually help impact the map pack as well. So after we set the foundation of the pages, we can help the business expand its presence and start to get them higher up the rankings in the map pack as well, which is obviously incredibly desirable for a small business having a couple of positions at the top of search as opposed to just one. We have an exciting new product that we're releasing initially to our close students that we call that are in our SEO Mastermind Academy, and that's our education division, where we're introducing Halo to them, and that is a technique and some tools that will help not only our landing pages get to the top of page 1, but other related URLs to that business. So we could see a business potentially getting 2, 3, or 4 very prominent positions in search on page 1. So what do these pages look like? Well, they look exactly like the client's website. So from a branding perspective, the customer has nothing to be concerned about. We don't touch the client's website. We produce these pages completely independent, and they run off a subdomain. Oftentimes, these pages will rank ahead of the client's own site because they're structured for search. Just a little side note, we've actually had a couple of Yellow Pages type customers in Europe that are concerned that our pages that we provide for their clients outrank their Yellow Pages listings, which we think is interesting, and they're asking how we can please make them not rank above their own listings. So anyway, that's an interesting side note. So the pages work incredibly well. They work incredibly fast, and they get to the top of rankings oftentimes within 30 days. So what do they look like? If we look at what are people doing? People are searching for something. They're either searching for a product or a service or a thing, and half of all search is local. So if you're trying to get found in search, you need to have your page optimized for those particular keywords, and they really do need to be relevant to your business. If you're trying to rank for things that are not relevant, you're really going to struggle with that. And if you're trying to increase the radius of which you can attract customers from your central location using local search, that's going to struggle as well. There's kind of a sweet spot of about 10 to 15 mile that you can really have a strong impact with our local search strategy. And what we find within a very short amount of time is that our customers are getting prominence for those relevant search terms when they're being entered by consumers in search. And then what appears when at the top of page one, well, it's a website, and the website is and driving customers to either call or fill out a form or engage in chat, and also for impacting the map pack, then potentially looking for directions or visiting the customer's own website. So it really is all about driving more business for the local business. And these are the sort of results that we're generating, which we think are outstanding. And these are consistent. We now have more than 80,000 pages deployed for our customers. Those pages are delivering on average 25 impressions per page per month. Close to 60% of these pages are in positions 1, 2, or 3, and a total of close to 80% of all the pages that we deliver are on page 1 for what they're designed to rank for. The proximity booster, this is where we've got the pages and then we optimize the GBP and we connect them together, and we have a particular technique that we employ doing that. What happens is initially the customer, you can see it turning green there now. This is actually a real case where customers started out appearing nowhere really in the map pack, or very, very low down. And in a short amount of time, we're able to impact to get them towards the top of the map, the local map pack, for the search terms that they're looking for. And this is a fairly consistent sort of result that we're generating for customers. And the key really here is down to keyword selection and relevancy to the business. If you get that right, you've got a very, very good chance of getting these sort of results. This is what it looks like. So you'd be familiar with this sort of screen. And this is, again, a real customer where we've influenced the map pack and got them in the top 3 positions, which is ideally where you want to be. So that's the booster technology that we have. And then you can see the network down below the second one. And that is a great result, getting to the top of page 1 for a pretty competitive term, emergency plumber in this instance. And we do it for all industries. It's not just plumbing or home services. It's legal, it's product, and the location doesn't matter either. We have customers throughout North America, throughout Europe, and throughout Australia. And the results are fairly consistent across all markets and all business types. This is a product that we're particularly excited about. We released it to a very select group of customers to test it out in market. And the results, to be honest, are stunning. We took a very competitive term for this particular client, and they were not in the top 100 rankings for what they did nationally. Within 2 weeks, we got them to page 1. An update from this specific client, last month alone, they had 1,400 page 1 impressions or interactions with customers for a very competitive term in garage doors. We more than doubled their traffic and engagement in the course of 1 month. Went from nowhere to a very prominent position. So Keystone is a tool that we use to help customers that are trying to rank nationally. So the difference there is that if you're a local butcher or a local service provider, you're probably going to attract customers from the local area. However, there are some businesses, like multi-location businesses or or those that are trying to sell their products or services nationally, you need to use a completely different technique to achieve those sort of rankings. It's really hard to do, but we've spent years in investing in research and testing, and we now know how to do that, and we can do it with the tools that we have in hand. If we look at our publishing business, this business unit we see as the sleeping giant of our business. We have a number of brands of directories, and what is valuable about these is the data, the business listing information. So what we can do essentially now is from a database that we have, we can ping to see if there is a Google business profile associated with that business. If there is, we can basically extract that data and add it to the listing, which obviously makes the listing more valuable, and it's completely aligned with Google's data that it's looking for, including categories and things like that. So we've just finished completely rebuilding one of these directories and have started indexing that. So we're very excited about what that might bring. To put in perspective the sort of impact it could have, and I'm not providing any forecasts here at all, I'm just sharing factual information about impressions that are generated. If you look at our proximity network solutions, which is essentially what we're doing with these directories, is converting old tech into new tech, and the new tech being the proximity network pages. So the proximity network, each page on average generates about 25 impressions a month. We have 80,000 of those pages, and they generate about 2 million listings. Hot Frog, for example, has 60 million listings. That's 60 million listings. So 60 million pages, and it generates about 4 million impressions. So a database or pages deployed 80,000 is generating almost half the traffic of a directory, which is many, many, many times bigger. So we're hoping that that translates into additional advertising revenue. And the great thing with that is that there's no cost increase with that. There's no correlation to increasing cost. It's a very high margin solution for us. We also have a number of high caliber partners that are submitting business listing information to us through an API. And the intention is in the new year to offer them the service of these proximity networks in an automated fashion. So these guys are already connected to our network. It's a case of us engage and paying us good money to be connected. And we're aiming to extend those relationships next year in a win-win situation. On the brand side of things, again, this is a really exciting and growing product where we're bringing new customers on at a fairly regular pace now. It's called Brand Boost. And essentially what we look at is, what is your brand, what do you sell, and where do you sell it? And we increase the prominence of your brand and your products inside those marketplaces. We're looking at what sort of advertising are these marketplaces doing, and how do we best optimize to present ourselves present our customers and our brands as the best choice for those particular keywords that they're advertising for, and therefore we know that people are looking for. I won't get into the nitty-gritty detail, but needless to say, the typical result that we're generating for customers is a 20 to 60% increase in revenue once this is deployed. So yeah, we're getting good growth in that area as well. And lastly, but not least, is our education. And this is sort of part of the linchpin of the business, where we're teaching the industry a number of very advanced SEO techniques. They're white hat. We don't engage in any black hat activity at all. There's no future in that. You will get caught. We just research and understand what the search engines are looking for and adhere to their rules. In fact, if you look at Google's rules for small business, that's exactly what our pages do. We follow to the letter of the law what they're saying, and obviously we've gone above and beyond with our research to really make sure that we are doing those right things. So Jimmy has been in SEO for many years. He has taught hundreds of students, SEO specialists over the years, and he has provided a lot of the techniques that are helping really make these products at the cutting edge of SEO globally. What is our growth strategy? Well, we've been, to say, quietly acquiring directories in the background, and the reason for that is the data that they hold, because we believe we can convert that data into high-ranking pages for businesses wherever they are. So we're aiming to really accelerate that part of the business in 2023. And the other aspects of the business, the high ticket items being the e-commerce solution and also Keystone, we should start to see that really hitting the market in January, February next year. So the growth strategy, I guess I've already touched on that, but the strategy really is to leverage the databases that we have, provide direct API access to our partners to be able to produce landing pages, high-ranking landing pages en masse, and to grow the reseller base that we have in North America and Australia. In particular, they're the two markets that we're focused on. They're English-speaking, therefore we're looking after one language being English. This solution does work in any language, but in terms of the market opportunity, that's where we see the greatest opportunity for us at this point in time. We sell through resellers primarily. The reason we do that is resellers such as digital agencies or SEO specialists tend to have many clients, and if we're able to therefore provide our technology on a wholesale basis to these resellers, we sell it at a certain price per month, then these resellers on-sell the solution to their clients. They often bundle it with other things, but yeah, you can see once you get a particular client on being a reseller, then they can start to generate a lot of revenue for our business, and then they're doing all the servicing work as well. Some of the key metrics, we have published these in the market, so these are not new, but year on year we did achieve some pretty decent growth in what was some pretty challenging economic times. You know, a lot of our customers were going through some fairly challenging economic situations. A number of businesses went out of business, but despite all of that, we did see revenue growth, total growth of around 79%. Monthly recurring revenue increased 81% year on year, and we're comparing the September 22 to September 21 quarter, which I will note is unaudited. In subscription revenues, we saw higher growth than that at 94%, gross margins up 10%. Overall, the revenues all increased year on year. And we're expecting to publish results that will show further growth in the December quarter. As at the end of September 22, 1,440 customers, we'd increased our reseller base by 253% year on year. And we, as a management team, we are absolutely focused on achieving profitability sooner rather than later. And we are focused on achieving that in our fiscal year, which ends in June 2023. So that comes through a combination of revenue growth and cost management. Really, they're the two levers that we have. And you know, we look after the cash that we have, and always looking forward at ways that we can do things more efficiently and ways that we can generate more revenue. If we look at the competitive landscape for SEO, and this is specifically in relation to local SEO, we're the only automated SEO technology solution that we've seen. If there are others, I apologise if we haven't seen any. And the market, the competitive landscape of enterprise players and digital agencies and freelancers, they've actually become our channel to market, because the solution that we have is so cost effective. It's better for them to resell our technology and make a margin compared to spending hundreds of hours to build out what we can do in a fairly automated fashion. From a national SEO perspective, Jimmy had a great line when he pitched to the students in the very first SEOMA, and that was, look, if you can rank nationally in 2 weeks, you probably don't need this technology. Very, very tongue-in-cheek. There's probably only a handful of SEOs around that could achieve that sort of result. So it's a real breakthrough product that we've now tested in market, and you'll start to see the results of that in 2023 from a revenue perspective. It's also market-based pricing, which is exciting because we're aligning our pricing model with the advertising models that the search engines have. So providing a complementary solution to advertising, because that's always going to be in place. But if we can get you to the top of a national search for a fraction of the cost of what it would cost to buy advertising dollars, we think that's a pretty attractive proposition. And the other advantage of being the national SEO is that you're always there. Whereas when your advertising money runs out, well, you're not there anymore. Whereas with SEO, you're always there. E-commerce, again, there's lots of brands that sell, but we haven't seen too many technologies that can actually help influence the position and increase the prominence of a brand inside those marketplaces. And that's something that we've proven we can do over and over again. So there's not too much in the way of competition in that marketplace. And again, in fact, some of our clients have recently come on as resellers for that technology. Guys that manage dozens of brands are looking to get involved and sell it to their client base. Education, there are many people that teach SEO. One thing I will say, if you do Google Jimmy Kelly, you'll find that a lot of the people that do teach SEO actually get their techniques from him. And that's not an overstatement. Over the years, I think his student database is up over 2,000. And some of the more prominent SEO specialists and trainers in North America have gained a lot of their knowledge through Jimmy Kelly's teaching. In terms of the roadmap, we've got some pretty interesting projects. The one that we're really keen on is the location-based directory solution. So we've built that, we've deployed it, and we're now waiting to see how quickly it'll get indexed. So watch this space for that. And then hot on the heels of that, in June 2023, we're looking at an automated data-driven video production to put another string in the bow. Video is a really important aspect of SEO, and we're looking to lower the cost of that for customers and automate the production. So if we look at the overall highlights of the company, we're playing in a very big space. Most of that $700 billion is spent on manual solutions as opposed to automated technology. Our technology is protected by a patent, and it automates solutions which is otherwise requires a lot of labor to produce. The products are delivering outstanding results across local, national, and brand search. We're now generating some pretty decent growth, 79% year on year. We've got a fairly rapidly growing distribution channel, and we have a very experienced management team. Apart from being a very handsome and attractive group of people, there's some pretty outstanding backgrounds there. Won't go into all of those in detail, but needless to say, we have a group of people that have considerable industry experience in both public and private companies, and a lot of experience in the digital marketing space, SEO, and that's our team. I'd just like to thank you for listening to the presentation, and I'm more than happy to take any questions on board.
Thanks, Gavin. That was really great, especially considering it must be in the middle of the night almost for you.
Oh, it's only 5:30 in the morning. I've been up for a few hours. It's fine.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right. So yeah, thanks again for the great presentation. It's certainly a very, very exciting story. I would invite questions from the audience. And until then, I'm going to kick it off with asking about your liquidity. So cash levels, you mentioned you anticipate to be break even or profitable soon. So do you think that your cash on your cash on your balance sheet will be sufficient to get there? How do you think about access to funding? Is there any more funding needed? What sort of things did you have in mind regarding that?
Yeah, certainly. We had over 2 million cash at hand. That's Australian dollars at the end of September. Um, our, we made a number of changes on the cost side of things. So there's around $2 million annually in forward cost savings. On the technology side, there are further cost savings to be made there. So yes, to answer your question, we do believe we have sufficient cash on hand to reach profitability. We have been offered, placements and so forth, which we have turned away. We believe the company is undervalued. We can't control that, but we have worked too long and too hard to give the company away at these prices. If we did want to give ourselves a bit of a buffer, we would look at debt instruments. We have shied away from anything to do with very excessive warrants or things like that. Again, we've been offered a number of instruments which we have politely declined. And there is the capacity within the shareholder base if we needed to put forward a debt instrument which was on agreeable terms, then we would look at that. But we certainly are not at this stage looking at any further equity investment.
Very good, very good. You mentioned the shareholder base. Are there any notable big shareholders, and how about yourself and the management team?
Yeah, I can state for the record that the three of the directors that have been with the company for a number of years, I started the company. We have each personally invested more than $1 million of cash, and that is outside of any sweat equity or anything like that. That's actual cold hard cash. When we listed, there was considerable money owed to the director group. We actually backed ourselves. We didn't take the cash off the table. We converted that into performance rights at a higher price than market. So we again backed ourselves and turned that into potential equity. I'm pretty confident to say that those rights will be issued fairly shortly, given the financial performance of the company. But it appears that we've achieved the objectives for the first tranche of those, which we're delighted about. Colin Visaggio, his background, he took into oil, which was obviously an oil company, was listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. He moved it to the New York Stock Exchange, and that was acquired for $2.6 billion in 2016, and he was the CFO of that company. So that's an example of the caliber of the chairman that we have. Myself, with my background, my previous company that I founded, listed on the ASX. I sold out before it listed, but I certainly built it up and got it to a decent level. That sold to Capgemini for $233 million last year. And Melvin was involved with Gemcom in a senior financial position. That company went the other way. It was acquired by a listed company for $360 million. So there's a track record of achievement within the board from having built and grown companies. And most of the successful salespeople and business people within our organisation have run their own businesses. So we found that that's been where we get the best people, those that have good commercial acumen, because they've had to survive on their own, running their own businesses. Does that answer your question sufficiently, Florian?
Absolutely, it more than answered. Excellent, excellent. So I could keep going on, but are there any questions from the audience?
Yeah, Florian, I'll jump in. This is Josh here. Gavin, when I talk to folks that I'm telling about Locafy, and they ask me to describe what you guys do differently than your average agency in terms of what they offer from SEO. I work in technology, but SEO is not my expertise. And so I feel like I'm always stumbling to differentiate what your technology brings to the table versus just a standard SEO expert in the industry today. So I'm hoping that you can give us that real, for lack of a better term, dumbed down version of what your platform brings to the table versus traditional SEO in the marketplace.
I'll do the best I can. The key difference is that we generate results very quickly, generally within 30 to 60 days. We don't have lock-in contracts. Whereas many traditional SEOs rely on doing on-page work for their customers. And what that means is they're tweaking and tinkering with their website, trying to impact search. What we do, we don't touch the client's website generally. We can, but we don't tend to do that. So our technology, the pages that we produce and the tools that we have stand alone or stand separate to the customer's existing web presence. And it's that what is driving the rankings. So our pages are highly optimized for search engines to crawl and understand what the content is all about. A lot of SEO money is simply wasted because they honestly don't know what they're doing, and that sounds harsh, but they don't. We can very quickly see, looking at a site, if it's going to work or not. But we found the right recipe, and the real secret here is that we can replicate that over and over and over again for any industry. It's like having a combination lock. We understand how the pages need to be structured, how we can deliver them very quickly, and how we can repeat that. So it's scalable, it's repeatable, and it's fast working. And in SEO, you live and die by your results. It's that simple. You don't get repeat customers if you don't deliver.
And so that definitely helps. And then just to follow up on that just slightly, so you had made comments about a lot of companies have to, play around or tinker with, existing client sites. You guys are basically providing those landing pages, your own landing pages that are highly optimized for this. What is the like effort on a maintenance basis that you guys have? So if there's tweaks or changes that you have to make, I believe my understanding is that because these are your pages, you're directly connected to them, that it's not touching each individual landing page, but you have some ability to make that change and it's pushed out to anybody that's using your platform rather than those onesie twosie touches that other agencies might have to do on each individual client's website.
That's 100% correct. That's very insightful. That's one of the key advantages that we have. And next time I'll have to include you in the presentation because I missed that point. It is a key advantage that when there's an algorithm update, and they are frequent, you have to be able to act quickly. And think of our solution as like a thin client or a mainframe type solution where you've got the core platform and you've got these thin client pages out there. So there are definitely the major components of what we need to tweak and tinker with. If we impact one page, we impact 80,000 pages. If we impact, and as we grow, we can certainly fix that. So an example was we figured out a solution to increase the speed, and it had to do with how capture and doing a particular thing with that, which we had on every single page for our client base, and then we deployed that. 5 minutes, the whole database is done. Also, having said that, though, sometimes there are specific things to a client that we need to do. We can also do that as well, and that's usually around keyword selection. And that's an area, excuse me, where many SEOs get it wrong is around keyword selection, and that's something that we are particularly focused on and good at. So. You had two parts to that question. Did I answer that sufficiently?
Yep. Spot on. Appreciate it.
I'll actually give you a real example. One of our customers is Mercedes Bikes, and they had over 2,500 pages, and we had a launch coming up, and they said, "Oh, we've got a new product range." I said, "Okay, that's fine." But in about the space of a couple of hours, all of their pages across their 50-odd locations were done and upgraded with no loss of SEO, no downtime.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Any more questions from the audience?
Hi, Gavin. It's Brian.
Hey, Brian.
I'll throw out a question as well. As you look at, I guess maybe I'd call them product extensions, whether it's, proximity or brand boost, versus, so local products, then also now what you're doing on a national level. And then there's what you're doing with directories. Where I'm going with this, I guess, is if we look at these as your children, which ones are you? Which are your favorites? Which ones are you most excited about? And I'm going to make you answer the question.
Well, I've got 4 children, and I tell them all I love them the most each. So that's a really tough question, Brian. But I'll answer it as honestly. And the one that's got the most scale potential is the directories, because we can apply our landing page technologies to each of the business listings within those directories. So we're really excited about that and what that can deliver, because that's got 2 revenue stream opportunities. It's got both advertising, which is a mathematical equation. It's based on pages and the value of the search term related to the pages that are appearing. It's a more straightforward thing. But then there's also the licensing opportunity. If you've got a small business that's got a business listing within one of the directories, they may want to extend that and buy a subscription for more keywords. That's certainly the most scalable of all of the solutions. Then I think the next couple, Brand Boost is exciting because it's a high value. It's a good revenue for us, but it's incredibly beneficial for the customer. So if we can work with customers that have got many brands, then that provides some nice chunky revenue for the business. So that's probably Keystone and Brand Boost are probably the second two major solutions. But Keystone's got tremendous potential. I'll give you an example of what the revenue model looks like there. If we take something like Tax Accountant, which has got about, say, 22,000 search results per month here in Australia, it's got a cost per click, let's call it $2. So the market value of that search term, if you were to buy all the ads, is $44,000 a month. Now, what if we could get you to page 1 of Google for 30% of that cost? So you're paying, say, $12,000 a month to be constantly on page 1 of search for that search term. That represents tremendous value. Now, like the Highlander, with that, there can be only one. So we can only sell that search term once. But there are many. There are thousands, tens of thousands of valuable search terms. And we've got a way to scale that. So directories, and then equal second for Brand Boost and Keystone.
And a follow up on the keynote, if you're essentially just exclusively doing one word, what's the term of that? Like Highlander, for example, do they have that word for a year?
They have it for as long as they keep paying the monthly fee. From our experience, once people get to page 1, they're quite reluctant to give it up because it's very hard to do, and often costs a lot of money. So yeah, there can be only one. I'm sorry, I think there's another part to that.
Well, do you have the ability to raise that price?
Absolutely. Initially it's market-based pricing, but then I'm sure competition will come in. That's really how the advertising model works, right? It's auction-based, it's value-based, it's market-driven. So for the moment, for the foreseeable future, it'll be market-based, and on a month-to-month basis, the search volumes are going to either increase or decrease for that keyword, and the cost per click or the value from an advertising perspective is going to go up and down. So there will be variations up and down for clients that have those particular keywords. But you don't need, the thing is, people generally think you need lots and lots of keywords to be successful in SEO. You don't. You need the right ones. You need the ones that are relevant to your business. If you get that right, you actually get rewarded with lots of others. So without getting into too much detail, sometimes less is more. It's just knowing where to put it, how to structure it, and making sure your pages are fast.
And for Keynote, do you foresee that the way you reach market is through Jimmy Kelly and his students, or is there alternative ways of reaching the market as well?
There are alternative ways. We're working with the students initially. We have in the first 2-3 weeks of Jimmy Kelly coming on board with his first seminar. His second one is actually tomorrow, which we're quite, again, excited about. So the 24 really great quality, leading edge SEO practitioners that are part of this Mastermind Academy. Now, Jimmy refers to them as students, but these are people that run very large agencies. Some of them have very large student bases of their own. So in the first instance, we're going to that very knowledgeable audience that can take the tool and deploy it within their client base. That's going to give us loads of case studies and examples that we can take to the wider market. So yeah, initially it'll be through that group, and then we'll extend it to our reseller base as the way to reach market.
Very good, thanks.
No, the other sort of sleeping giant we got is the directories. We've got over 500,000 double opt-in email database that we haven't really started to contact in terms of these products as well, and they're all small businesses, business owners. So that will happen in the March quarter as well.
Another one from me. Typically, investors are extremely worried when it comes to small ad tech businesses that basically they are at the mercy of Google. So Google would just make a small change to the algorithm or hit the wrong button, and basically the whole business model is destroyed. I have seen it before. Many people have probably seen that before. Is there any such risk for you? How do you see that?
Well, yeah, Google make changes all the time, but the core of what they've done has remained largely the same. But we do monitor it. We don't leave things to chance. We do our best to stay ahead of the curve. But what we've done, I think, is we've aligned ourselves to the commercial model of the advertising. We don't detract from it. We don't do anything which is in any way harmful. We don't detract from advertising. In fact, we tell clients, if you've got pay-per-click advertising, that's an advantage. But if you think about how the search engine makes money, it makes money from selling keywords, and in some cases, combination of keywords and locations. That's exactly what we're doing. So for their advertising model to work, they need relevant content to appear in the search results for that advertising to be valuable. So it's actually complementary to what they're doing. Yeah, we don't ever discourage people from doing Google ads. We say, hey, look, maybe you can spend it, you can reduce your SEO spend and get a better result. Maybe, just try this and reduce your advertising spend and see what works for you best. But having a combination of all three, advertising being up in the map pack and organic results, that's going to give you the overall best return for a business. If you're prominent in three positions, you're going to do okay.
Very good answer. Very, very good. In terms of scalability, do you anticipate, if you wanted to grow, I mean, if you look at historical revenue numbers, you have been growing them very, very quickly. In general, if you were to continue to grow your revenues on a similar trajectory, do you need a lot more people? Do you need a lot more salespeople, developers? How difficult is it for you to scale the business? And how costly would it be?
We think we've made most of the investments. So unlike other companies that might have listed to raise capital to build a product, we'd already invested more than $40 million Australian into the company to build the technology out. So in terms of the scaling, going back to, I think, Brian's question, it dovetails into that. The directory side of things gives us tremendous scale without having to really increase resources at all. We don't see the cost base increasing in the coming quarters. We see them decreasing. So you'll see some cost reductions come in, which we've already presented to the market in our quarterly. There may be additional further rationalisation there as we aim to automate as much as we possibly can. So yeah, to your answer it succinctly, no, the costs are not linear to the growth of the business. We have sufficient salespeople and at this point in time, sufficient operational people to deliver the solutions to our customers. And part of that too is our reseller base does some of the heavy lifting as well. So by going through resellers, that's giving us an extension to our business, an extension of salespeople, an extension of operational people. And we have a very much an education focus where we teach people how to use the tools. The better we teach them, the more fish they can catch for themselves instead of us having to fish for them.
Gavin, just to add on to that question a little bit more in terms of what you were referencing in terms of where the revenue streams are, not from a product perspective, but from the resellers versus direct to client needing resources to do sales, whether that's account management for those resellers or individual sales directly to the customer. You touched on it briefly, but when you look at the future strategically, where do you see the focus being? Is there a move away from direct to customer and focusing really just on these resellers, or how do you see that?
Yeah, great question. That's Josh, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, great question. The focus is definitely on the resellers and taking an education focus with them, teaching them how to deploy these products. The more accomplished they are at SEO and using our techniques and products, the better we're going to be. So that we definitely move away from direct customers, with probably the exception of e-commerce. As much as we will look to go through resellers there, we still have a very good direct client solution there. The reason that we can go direct is oftentimes when you're dealing with companies that own brands, they own multiple brands. So if you can prove your worth with a major brand, you've got a plethora of products that you can work with. But on the whole, primarily through resellers is the focus going forward.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the audience? If not, I have a last one. Can you touch a little bit on the competitive landscape a bit more? So, and maybe combine that a little bit with, have you received any pushback from customers, or what would be a typical reason for customers not to stay with you?
A typical reason would be to not stay. I mean, no one's perfect. So sometimes campaigns don't work. Sometimes the products are not desirable. Sometimes there's just not the search volume for what people are trying to rank for. Those things happen. For the most part, we do generate very good results. Sometimes things are seasonal. So for example, with Brand Boost, customers may want to use the solution in the lead up to a Black Friday event or a Christmas event and then drop it off because they know people are not looking for those particular products in the new year. So there's this seasonality with some things. The biggest thing when meeting a new client is trust. The industry unfortunately has a pretty bad reputation, and I think probably deservedly so, because there's a lot of promises being made to clients about SEO and what it can do, and then many unfortunate clients find out 12 months and $100,000 later that it doesn't actually work, or what the service provider did hasn't worked. So once you can get through that trust barrier, you're in good shape. And I think by us having very, very small, if any, upfront costs and month-to-month contracts, that demonstrates confidence in our products, because it doesn't work in 30 days. Well, don't keep going. But yeah, Florian, they're probably the things that we encounter the most.
Very good. So last chance for the audience. Then I do have a really last one, which would be, where do you see yourself and the company in sort of the long-term future? Do you see yourself as a takeout target for a larger company? Do you see yourself grow organically much larger? Or just what is sort of your vision? Let's put it that way.
I think we're definitely a takeout target proposition. We're probably not on the radar because we've virtually doubled the business since listed. We listed at a market cap of 100 million Australian dollars and we're trading at about 10. So that's really frustrating from our point of view, that we're performing well and it's not being recognised by the market. But we'll just keep focusing on the things we can control, and that is driving revenue and managing our costs and getting to profitability. Then, once we're in that position, which we don't believe is very far away at all, then we're then completely in control of our own destiny. So the objective is to keep growing organically as large as we can. But doing that in a sensible, profitable way. It's not growth at all costs. It's profitable growth that we're looking for. We've got a very dedicated team here that's been here for many years. I plan to be here for many years more. That's our focus. We want to grow this business. We see ourselves as thought leaders and market leaders, even though the market cap doesn't reflect that. I think the products we have and the talent we have is certainly world-class. And hopefully the market catches up with that in the not too distant future.
Well, fantastic. And I would say I would strongly agree with your valuation at this market cap being plainly ridiculous. And yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for us investors to get more informed about the story, to do our work. And I think this call was a great first opportunity to hear the story and to get familiar with the company. I think this was really good. Thank you very much again for your time and for the great presentation and the great answers.
Thank you, Florian, and I genuinely appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, and I appreciate the number of calls that we've had and the interest that you're showing in our business. And I'm always happy to talk to you and be as transparent as I possibly can.
Fantastic. And with that, I think we can finish this. Thanks everybody for attending.
Thanks, Gavin.
Thanks very much, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Some or all the speakers may maintain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast. The views in this podcast expressed are those of the speakers, not breakout investors. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. Neither Breakout Investors nor any of its affiliates makes any representation or warranty, express or implied, as to the accuracy or completeness of the statements or any information presented by this podcast and any liability, including in respect of direct, indirect, or consequential loss or damage, therefore is expressly disclaimed. No one on this podcast is an investment advisor. No one is providing investment advice. Before investing in any company's stock, you must do your own research. Thank you for listening.